We live with physical comforts our ancestors couldn't fathom, yet our baseline psychological state is often a mix of chronic anxiety, exhaustion, and total overwhelm. To treat this, we are looking at a text written 2 millennia ago, Letters from a Stoic, a collection of writings by Lucius Annaeus Seneca. Seneca lived in the 1st century AD, at the geopolitical center of the Roman Empire. This was a society of staggering wealth, but also intense political paranoia and daily personal risk. He spent years acting as the chief minister and tutor to the Emperor Nero. Navigating the volatile, unpredictable whims of an absolute ruler made Seneca's daily existence a high-stakes stress test. His own life was a web of extreme contradictions. He was a multi-millionaire financier and statesman, yet he suffered from debilitating, lifelong asthma and lived under the constant looming threat of execution or exile. He forged his philosophy in the middle of real-world chaos. Principles that could manufacture psychological peace under a tyrant can also navigate our own daily modern stressors. Seneca treated philosophy as a clinical practice. He believed the mind catches specific infections, like anxiety, grief, and greed, in the same way the physical body falls ill to a virus. His letters were written to his friend Lucilius, a Roman civil servant working in Sicily. They are structured as direct prescriptions meant to provide immediate relief for psychological suffering. We are going to audit 4 specific symptoms of modern mental distress and apply Seneca's exact philosophical cures to each one. First up is the modern habit of future tripping, the chronic stress we feel over economic crashes, career failures, or social rejections that haven't actually happened yet. Seneca diagnosed this condition bluntly. He wrote, "The life of folly is empty of gratitude, full of anxiety, focused wholly on the future. We suffer in imagination more than in reality." His prescription is a mental tool called Premeditatio Malorum, which translates to the premeditation of evils, or rehearsing the worst. Seneca actively practiced this through poverty rehearsals. He would spend a few days every month eating plain, cheap food and wearing rough clothes. He forced his brain to experience the scenario he feared, proving that it was entirely survivable. Intentionally rehearsing loss strips the unpredictable future of its power. When you know you can survive the worst-case scenario, the anxiety surrounding it evaporates. The second symptom is financial exhaustion, the burnout of the hedonic treadmill. We constantly desire a bigger house or a better car, usually driven by comparisons to the people around us. Seneca noted that human needs are actually quite small and easy to satisfy. The problem is that our artificial wants, the things society tells us we should have, are infinite. On the left, a fixed threshold represents our natural needs. On the right, a second bar represents artificial wants. As you achieve a goal, the threshold for enough simply moves further away. Desires spring from false opinions, and falsity has no point of termination. He proposed that true wealth arrives the moment we cultivate contempt for the unnecessary. By removing the need for the superfluous, you reach a state of abundance that the accumulation of objects can never provide. The third symptom is the urge to escape. It's the persistent fantasy that booking a vacation or moving to a new city will somehow hit a reset button on our stressed, cluttered minds. Seneca dismissed travel as a psychological cure. He argued that moving your physical body changes nothing if you take your own flawed psychology with you. Even 2,000 years ago, wealthy Romans tried to flee their problems. Seneca pointed to elite destinations like Athens and Rhodes, noting that the location changes nothing about the person looking at it. Peace must be manufactured internally. It requires a deliberate change of character rather than a change of scenery. The final symptom is the dread we associate with physical hardship, whether that's chronic pain, severe illness, or the eventual reality of our own death. Seneca spoke with immense authority here. He spent his life battling horrific asthma attacks, fighting for breath so often he referred to aging as a kind of incurable sickness. His prescribed cure was a strict mental categorization. He taught his students to separate the objective physical sensation, the actual pain in the body, from the subjective mental narrative, which is the suffering we generate in our heads. Pain itself is often brief or bearable. It is the mental dread, the fear of what the pain means or how long it will last, that breaks us. By refusing to add that dread to the physical facts, the hardship remains trivial. As Seneca told Lucilius, everything hangs on one's thinking. If you tell yourself an illness is bearable, you ensure that it actually is. Applying these rules doesn't mean becoming an emotionless robot. Seneca humanized the Stoic creed. He wrote about the deep value of friendship and the necessity of allowing legitimate grief when someone you love dies. The goal is self-sufficiency. This mindset allows you to enjoy the people in your life while building the capacity to endure their loss with equanimity if you have to. Seneca's goal was a spirit that remains invulnerable to the impacts of life. This mind feels every wound and processes every grief, yet it refuses to be dismantled by them. Applying these prescriptions, rehearsing adversity, limiting artificial wants, staying mentally grounded, and separating pain from suffering, allows you to stop reacting to external chaos. You start managing your own internal landscape. Reversals are the way nature regulates itself. While the storms, heat, and loss are inevitable, we retain authority over our internal reception of them. Seneca compared the mind to an impenetrable kingdom. The rational spirit is the queen of that kingdom, governing the internal citadel through logic. He warned that as long as the spirit remains unharmed, the rest of the personality stays at its post, obedient and submissive. But the moment the rational mind wavers, the entire life falls into anarchy. Protect the sovereignty of your mind. If you do, you can navigate the sensory overload and anxieties of the modern world with the same peace Seneca found in the heart of Rome.